The next car on the strip here at 9 Mile, David Lau, a 1960. This is exciting. A 1960 Ford Thunderbird convertible.
Yeah, and the reason this car is interesting is, as you know, Thunderbird started out being two-passenger sports cars, and then they did market research on their owners and said, "Do you like your Thunderbird?" "Yeah, great. Is there anything you'd like even better?" "Yeah, it'd be great if it had rear seats I could put my kids in."
And
so they did a four-passenger, and then after that they went to market research again, and people said, "Wouldn't it be nice if it had more doors?" And they actually, nobody knows this, and there's probably not many left, and they actually did a four-door Thunderbird, which just looked like another Ford sedan. So sometimes you listen to market research at your peril, and you walk away from what you originally had.
Well, and of course, that's something they've always wanted in the automotive business is to figure out what customers wanted, because they want to be ahead of the other guy.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, you got to recognize, if you're doing small cars, people buy a small car because they're in it for the fuel economy.
Yeah.
And if you ask them, what don't you like about your small car, they say, "I wish it was bigger." I mean, these things are predictable.
Of course. All right, they are ready. Let's throw it over to Eric Gorgeous, host of Craftsman's Legacy in the Street, with David Lau in the 60 T-Bird. Eric, to you.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm doing fine, especially since it's dry now.
Yeah, right? So what do we got here?
We got a 1960 Thunderbird.
60 T-Bird.
60 T-Bird.
And you got a little passenger with you.
I got my granddaughter Olive that loves Grandpa's Thunderbird.
Oh, I bet. It's a beautiful car, man. These lines are great. How long have you had it?
Only 50 years.
Only 50 years?
Only 50 years. I bought this as a $500 used car in 1967.
Get out of here.
No, it's true. It's true. I've had it ever since.
$500 used car
no,
right
it was
here.
$475 because the muffler was shot. So
Oh.
I talked him down to $475.
$475. That sounds a little bit more accurate. I thought $500 maybe, you know, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite feature about this car, man?
The power top when it works, okay? Which is most of the time.
Yeah.
But Murphy's Law is if it's raining, the power top may not work.
All right.
But this thing is a very complicated system of 12 relays and 11 limit switches and
Wow.
hydraulic motors and solenoids, because the deck comes up and the finish panel folds down and the top comes up and all of this stuff. And it's all got to work in sequence or it goes horribly wrong.
That's got to be something cool to see, though.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
I got to imagine this car turns heads no matter when it is.
It seems to, yeah. People, it's getting old enough now. People say, "What is it?"
Yeah. So have you done a lot to it over the years?
Yeah, pretty much maintained it. This was like 35 years ago. It was mostly restored and painted. So what you're seeing is at least 35 years old.
Right on, man.
But,
right on.
We keep her going.
Right on. Hey, man, thanks for coming out.
My pleasure.
Fred, it's back to you, man.
Well, there it is, Robert, the 1964 Thunderbird, and as he said, it purchased it in 1967 for $475.
Yeah, well, of course, from then you have to factor inflation, so you have to multiply by at least 10, but it's still an unbelievable bargain. And they are nice cars. And you were able to buy an aftermarket tonneau for the rear seats so you could cover them up. And there were two streamlined headrests behind the front seat passengers, so that when you had that tonneau in position, it did look like a two-passenger car.